Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and to be able to share a few minutes of your time with my dear friend Jan Davey, who's just achieved a fantastic promotion in our team. I hope you've been out enjoying the glorious sunshine and enjoying easing out of lockdown and reconnecting with friends and family. I'm sure a lot of you have been booking your hair appointments, your beautician appointments, and yes, I'm the same, and also booking a holiday. The last week I have been sharing with you 7 values to live a happier, richer life. And I thought, how serendipitous, oh, I actually pronounced that correctly, how serendipitous that one of my wonderful team members has achieved a promotion, really living those values. And it's always great to, you know, read about things and learn about them in theory and in principle, but it's a whole different experience when you can hear somebody's story. That's where the inspiration comes. And so this is why I want to share a little bit of time with you with Jan. So Jan, just tell us a little bit about yourself, because you and I have known each other a long time, but just take in the real snippet of who you are.
Okay, so I'm a nurse by background, been a nurse for a long time. And in the last year or so, things have changed in my life a little bit. And I wanted to retire, but I wanted to do that. I wanted to maintain the lifestyle I had and increase the lifestyle. So I needed to look for something very part-time to fit around my full-time job. So I came across Forever, love it, love the products, love everything about it, and it's certainly helping me and giving me what I'm after. So with it, I wanted to continue doing what I was doing and working around a full-time job, and doing the part-time work as well. So I did retire last year.
And I just have to jump in, because I know what everybody's thinking. Well, you look very young to say you're retiring, and because you've had a very long career in the NHS.
40 years.
40 years. You did start in the NHS very, very young. You've been an amazing
12.
You've been an amazing contributor to the health service throughout your whole career.
Absolutely. And I've worked my way up from being a cleaner to a senior nurse, and a manager within the health service. So right through the whole spectrum. Worked in the community, worked in an acute trust, worked in mental health. So a whole array of services. I made a decision to retire before the pandemic started. However, once it kicked in, I felt that it wasn't the right time to leave, really. So I went back very much on a 3-day a week, which was great, until we had the second spike in January. And things got a little bit crazy, both in the community and the acute trusts, and we were looking at how we can facilitate discharges safely and all of those things. So I volunteered to go back in, and I think at the end of January, beginning of February, I did 10 days straight, which I haven't done. I have to say, I haven't done that for about 20 years. So it was particularly tiring. I have to say, I was a bit exhausted. However,
okay, so let me just jump and ask you a couple of questions, because already when I think about the 7 values that I've chatted about over the last week and a half, they are: be passionate, live with integrity, be entrepreneurial. We're going to come back to that when we talk about your 10 days straight. Take no shortcuts, seek adventure, stay agile, and be grateful. So when you think about, where what some people might be thinking watching this, here we are 13 months into a pandemic, and there's you in January giving your all to the NHS because those are the values you live by, and you decide that this is the time you're going to put your efforts into growing your second income. People must think, what were you thinking? Why in a pandemic? why would someone want to start something new when the world is topsy-turvy?
So I think there's lots of reasons behind that. Things, the products are so good for people's health and well-being, and one of the things for me is about having a really good immune system, and our products are the best to support the immune system. So I was unfortunate, I don't know, I'm not quite sure, early on in the pandemic of contracted COVID, so it wasn't very well. And given the fact that I'm a little bit chunky, I'm a little bit older, and I'm asthmatic, I should have had quite a bad effect of it, really. It should have been good. I should have been quite poorly. However, I wasn't. And I'm convinced it's because my immune system was so good. It was so good. And I think going forward, we got to everybody thought in the summer last year, everything was slowing down and everything was disappearing. And then we had this massive spike in December, January. And I was thinking, if it helped me, then it can help other people. And if I can get other people's immune system back to a good level and their general health. And it's also about the feel good factor, isn't it? People want to look good, feel good. People, like you said, people are quite shocked that I've retired because I don't look that old. I don't look retiring age. And that again is the use of the products, the skincare, all of those things. And also being able to work flexibly around, reduce the stress levels. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, so there we are, the height of the pandemic. You're working, giving it your all. Those are your values: contributing, integrity, making a difference. And how did you fit in the activity to start something new, to start a new venture around the craziness? And we won't go into the craziness, but the craziness in the pandemic was real in the health system.
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you fit it in? What would you say to someone who's maybe working full time, maybe has a family, maybe is looking after elderly parents? What advice would you give people who are thinking, well, I could do with an extra income, but how do I fit it in? How did you fit it in?
So it was very much initially in the nooks and crannies. So things like on my lunch break, I'd talk to some people. I do some self-development in the car on the way home and back again, because that's really, really important, is around the learning and the self-development and being able to be adaptable and flexible. So my car became our university of life. So there was lots of listening and lots of things going on in the car. Very much about planning as well, and saying, so this is the time that I've got. I'm really fortunate that my children are grown up and don't need, I've got to say, they don't really need me, but they do, because they're my children, of course.
Yes,
as you know yourself.
Yes.
And I guess the other thing within that as well, my daughter had announced that she was pregnant, so we had and she's left home. There was all the emotional stuff going on, so I had to be flexible and being able to support her emotionally as well. But it was about planning my time, getting really organised, being clear what times I had, and in reality, I was doing probably in the height of my busyness within the NHS, I was probably just working an hour and a half a day.
But not in the one big chunk,
no,
hour and a half, in little snippets.
No, absolutely. So it was snippets in the nooks and crannies of my day. Again, I'm really lucky. My husband does everything for me. I'm really spoiled. So when I got in, I'd shower, and then I'd go and make some phone calls while he was making the tea. So I was being able to build the business very much around the work, home life, and all the rest of it. And it worked. It worked really, really well.
Okay, so nooks and crannies, that's the golden nugget to take away. When you think about starting something new, whether it's a new home-based business, learning a new sport, learning a new language, we know that the training and support you get can be the difference that makes the
Mhm.
difference. So you're working crazy hours, you're fitting this in the nooks and crannies, and you made your car a university, which is amazing because you were driving to and from work. What kind of training and support did you get, or how would you describe the difference that it made, and where did you fit that in?
Oh, yeah. So I have to say that the training and support has been amazing. So again, it was about planning it in and knowing that I'd be home in time to do our training that we have on a regular basis. I knew that if I needed any support, I could contact you and you would be there. But it wasn't only about your support; it was around the team support. So it's just everybody, and whether that be people who've just started, because we're all learning from each other and nobody knows everything, and I think that's really important. And it's also people who are managers and who've been in the business a long time. The accessibility is amazing, and what I've really found is that there's no secret squirrel stuff. There's nobody saying, I'm not going to tell you that because you might take that away and learn more than I do and be more successful than I am. And I find that quite interesting, having had a long career in the NHS. The information's power in a corporate world, I guess.
Yeah.
And in this, it's not. Information is gold dust that's open to everybody to share. And I guess I've never experienced that. And you're never made to feel silly asking questions. And some of the questions that I've asked, I know that people possibly have got away secretly and had a little giggle.
Never.
That's absolutely fine, but I don't know that because the support and the guidance, and if you have a bad day, there's always somebody there to pick you up and say, "Come on, this is okay." I guess, in the words of Sir Tom, tomorrow's a better day, isn't it? You know, and looking at his values as well. Tomorrow's a better day. So if you have a bit of a pants day, that's okay, because you can put it behind you and move on. And that's the really nice thing about this team, is around having that pickup, really. But the support, the guidance, the training, and I guess the other thing is, if I couldn't have made the training that we do on a regular basis, there's always a recording of it, so you can always pick it up and do it at your leisure. And again, I think a couple of times I listened to some of that in the car, because I didn't want to miss out. I'm a bit of a FOMO, really. I don't want to miss out on anything. Let me miss out. So I want there to be. It's so accessible. It's unbelievable, and not only from in the team, but nationally and internationally. You know, that the support and training is just phenomenal. I can't say that, sorry.
I know. Okay, so if we look at the 7 values, you're obviously passionate about helping people. So whatever you're going to do it with passion, and that's what you do, which is why in the pandemic you didn't retire, you stayed, and in the height of it, you worked 10 days straight. And okay, you are obviously, work with, you are, I say, integral. No, you are a person of integrity. I had to get my grammar right. Yes. You are a person of integrity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is based on wanting to help other people. Entrepreneurial. Now, sometimes that word can scare people, but entrepreneurial just means being open-minded and be creative and being agile. You had to be creative and flexible in the way that you were fitting the important parts of your life into your life. Yeah.
And I think in the last 12 months, everybody's become much more agile in terms of the way that they've worked. So it is about having that open-mindedness and that flexible thinking in terms of how can I do things different. And I think, there's You work for 8 hours, you sleep for 8 hours, you've still got 8 hours left in the day that you can do what you choose to do.
So how do you feel now coming to the end of April? You achieved your promotion in March.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel that during the height of the craziness of the upside down world, here you are in the nooks and crannies, you've done some pretty amazing things to shift the balance. And because now you don't, you've come away from the job, you're now doing your part-time home-based business, and you did that in the craziest time.
Yeah.
And so how does that feel?
It feels really quite amazing, actually, and I guess it's the if I can do it in the craziness, I can certainly do it out of the craziness. And I think there's a bit around how I then take that forward and move it on. And I think if I can do it when I'm working 10 days straight, and it was a 2-hour journey to work either side, an 8-hour day at work. So it wasn't just popping in somewhere for a couple of hours. It was long days. If I can do it with that amount of pressure in another world, it surpassed all my expectations, really. And I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not really, because I planned it.
I was going to ask you
how much time I had, and how it wasn't easy. And I have to say it wasn't easy, but because it was planned and I was really committed into doing what I wanted to get promoted and to support people and to bring people in the team for them to start achieving what their goals are, then it's blooming amazing.
And what about yourself? Because I've seen a marked change in you in terms of your I mean, you were confident before, okay? You were a senior nurse in the NHS. You had leadership skills. You were confident, you were great at chatting to people, but there's been a change in you. There's been a quiet, there's just like a quiet serenity, a confidence of, yeah, you know what? I got this, and I got you, whoever you're working with. I got this, and I got you. It's been visible, the change in you in a short period of time.
And I think that comes so in the NHS, so I've been a senior manager for a long time. So I felt very comfortable and very confident doing what I was doing. And I knew exactly where to go to if I didn't know. And I sometimes made it up, to be honest, but I won't say that probably. It is what it is. But because it was very, very comfortable, and initially doing this, it's a bit like learning to drive, isn't it? You start off and you haven't a clue, and you do your driving test, and as you become driving, you get to your driving test, you're a bit more comfortable. You don't have to go, right, what do I do now? Stop, start, and all the rest of it. And it's a bit like passing your driving test. And actually, I know I feel much more confident in being able to go out for a drive and do the business and work the business. And I think it's around doing things consistently and frequently and becoming much more confident in what you're doing. And the personal development has been brilliant.
So if you think about, that's where you were, and your, our opportunity offers everything from, the really teeny tiny pocket money, 50 quid a month, right up to sky's the limit, very full time, multiple 6-figure income, career type opportunity, and everything in between. And what would you say has happened to your vision as your belief has grown, or as you've experienced this ability, you've learned, you've got what's the future hold for you now?
So initially I was thinking, I was thinking of earning about, I don't know, £1,000 a month through this, which would support my pension, really. And
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. £1,000, that's really nice. But actually, the last month has changed that. So,
Okay. And then so go on,
so,
yeah. And how has that changed that?
so I've got another reason, obviously, and I mentioned it earlier, is I'm going to be a granny.
You're going to be a grandma.
I'm going to be a grandma. And
Yeah.
I find that really difficult because in my head I'm 26 and how can I be a grandma and my baby's only a baby? But anyway, I'm going to be a grandma. So I want to be able to be there for my daughter and her partner and the baby boy. So that's a real driver for me. And that's about saying, actually, it doesn't matter. I don't have to go and find another job 3 days a week to top up my pension, because actually, what was the point of retiring if I was going to have to go back
Exactly.
to the same place doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Why would I have retired at that point? I think, we've still got a lot to give. And that's not just about in the NHS. I think that's about being able to support people. And I've always prided myself, is that the right word?
Yeah.
On in the NHS of being a good leader. And people say you're a manager, and I'll say I'm not. I'm a leader. I'm absolutely a leader. And I think this has given me the opportunity to build on those leadership skills and to be able to engage with more people and support them to grow an amazing, amazing business.
One very last question, as we've got only literally 2 minutes left. There are people who've been following me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are watching or following you. And most of the time, people are watching and following from a safe distance, where there's no pressure, there's no, where there's anonymity.
Yep.
So to those people who are curious, what is it we actually do? How do we do it? How does this work? How can they be part of this excitement? How can they find out more? What advice would you give those watchers who feel they want to find out more but are scared to? What would you say to those people?
I would say have a look. Doesn't cost anything to have a look. If you don't look, you'll never know what it is. You'll never know whether it's for you or not. I guess the other thing for me is it's no pressure to have a look, and just talk to us, really. See what we do. Diana's got an amazing life, which if people following Diana will see what an amazing life she's got. But for me, just have a look. Yeah. There is no pressure to do anything else apart from have a look. And I remember talking to somebody who said, I would hate in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, for you to be in a position and then saying, why didn't you show me? And actually and then you've got a choice. And at the moment, people are making choices without information. So it's not an informed choice. So have a look at the information, see what you think. If it's for you, that's great. If it's not for you, that's also great.
Thank you so much, Jan, just for sharing a little bit of time and demonstrating how when you live your life to core values, as we've shared, you can live a happier, richer life. And I don't mean rich so much in monetary terms, but rich in your overall life. And, we're expanding, we're growing. And if anything Jan or I have said has just made you curious or actually just touched your heart a little bit, we've got some fantastic information packs that we can send out to you. Just private message Jan, private message me. You can do it anonymously. You don't have to comment, because who knows, like Jan, in 3 months' time, you could be finding yourself thinking very differently, having your vision grown and your confidence grown. So just private message one of us and we'll get an information pack into your hands and we'll take it from there. So thanks everybody for joining us. Have an awesome, awesome evening. Thanks, Jan.
Thank you. Thank you.